So, I got a comment on one of my videos. Somebody was talking about the Xbox Series S. This is usually a theme and a pattern. And so, let's go ahead and let's check out what this particular comment says. Now, again, bear with me because this is something that usually goes down a lot in terms of this conversation. So, this person said to me based on my video and said, so the Series S isn't the problem yet. Microsoft is asking developers why they're skipping Xbox, and Avowed is delayed and launching at 30 FPS despite the X being 12 teraflops. Please tell me you're not a brother making us look bad. Okay. Well, I'm glad that they actually going ahead and reference the ethnicity in this particular question because this is one of those where you're not, you're being questioned on a deeper level. So, first of all, the Xbox Series S that everybody has pretty much dogpiled on is one of those things that comes with a belief system attached to it that's not based in reality. Now, I have to first go ahead and talk about quickly a game that has improved its performance on the Series S since its launch. This is the first way to dispel this notion that the Series S is not a good device to actually make games for. What's happening here is I think developers are probably scoping their games way too big and in many cases not given enough time to prioritize their optimization because obviously Dragon's Dogma 2 came out like Dragon's Doodoo 2 on many, different kinds of hardware. I bought it at launch and I ran it on my RTX 4090, Ryzen 9 5950X build. Like this is a massive CPU that I use for game development. This is a massive GPU as well. And the game was not even able to touch 60 FPS in many cases. However, if you look at the Xbox Series S version, which even the Series X and PS5 versions were still all over the place at launch, now they've been able to improve the resolution and improve the performance. Are you guys seeing it? It's right in front of you, but it took them a long time, possibly almost, several months to be able to go ahead and do. Now, the question is, how is it possible that this game that came out, with poor performance, how is it possible that somehow on all platforms they've been able to improve the game, severely over time? Well, optimization. Optimization is pretty much the art of you taking your game and increasing and improving its performance by doing many different things. You may rewrite some code, you may change textures, you may change detail, you may rewrite how AI and other systems deal with the CPU in order to improve the game's performance. I work on some game development, so I think I might say that I am that brother that actually is putting himself in the shoes of what developers face to be able to understand exactly what's going on. I've removed myself a lot from the gaming conversation in terms of how gamers choose to perceive these things because for most gamers, they want to believe certain things. That's what it is. It's not really about what the facts or what the evidence actually, point to. But I've decided that this is what I want to do. Now, it doesn't make me better than anybody else, but at least I can say with a high level of confidence that I'm quite aware of what I'm talking about. Not only just me, I'm looking at other developers in the industry. I'm looking at patch notes everywhere. I'm looking at developers coming back and saying, hey, our game that was running at 30 FPS is now at 60 FPS, aka Starfield. And I'm saying, oh, this is a optimization issue across the industry. They're not, these developers don't, or the publishers, I guess, are not interested in letting their developers cook the games until they're fully done. And that's the problem the Xbox Series S is facing. Now, as to why Microsoft is asking developers why they don't want to actually publish their games on Xbox, that is actually something much bigger than just a hardware issue. The hardware is already there. I mean, a lot of these developers are publishing for places like Nintendo Switch. They're publishing for low-end hardware on PC that is not even as powerful as the Series S. That's another package that you got to actually deal with. Because if you think about it, like, let's just throw out a game like Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong, I think till this day, is going to be hard to convince me. I strongly believe that that game was money hatted. I mean, like, it's hard for anybody to want to basically just go out and say it. The reason I believe so is because a lot of the, outlets, Digital Foundry, Richard Ledbetter himself, of, when he was writing in Eurogamer, Jez Corden, even though, Paul Tassi, I may say I have some issues with some of the things he writes, a lot of them put their, they put themselves on the line to say, we spoke with people within the pipeline that said to us that this game was, held back by an arrangement by PlayStation. Not necessarily that the Series S was having a memory leak or whatever. Even the memory leak, story was still bogus, because every developer that came out to speak on that, I mean, I have videos on my channel. They said a memory leak is a software issue. It's not the hardware issue. We even saw Black Myth Wukong run on the, Steam Deck, which is hardware that is not as powerful as the Series S. So that's a different question about, the pipeline, about the stratagem. Like, okay, if you want to get into Xbox, what are the things that you would like to see? Now, many people did not do this survey. That's the problem too, bro. Most people just want to talk. They don't ever put themselves in the shoes of what may be going on. So when Xbox was asking that question was dedicated to developers in the pipeline, and the question focused on certain areas. Now, I can't share anything about it because it required an NDA, and I didn't even fill it out. But when I read, a lot of the preliminary stuff before the NDA part, you could tell this is exactly where these lines of questions were going to. And so gamers out here see that and they say, oh, yeah, well, it's because of the Series S. But there we go with Crimson Desert telling PlayStation, get out of our face. PlayStation is purposefully going to block these games from going to the Xbox. Did you miss the news? Did you hide and bury your head in the sand? I mean, again, everybody wants to sit here and talk about the Series S being the problem, yet want to abandon the problems that we have genuinely in the gaming industry, with a lot of developers and publishers pretty much doing exactly what it is that they want, bringing half-baked games to the block and not necessarily, giving good quality in terms of that. Another, comment that's just right underneath that same comment. This says Microsoft's request to make new games run on both X and Series S really give devs a hard time to optimize. This is the biggest excuse that I've ever seen, because these same devs that everybody is now wanting to coddle have been optimizing for games of various hardware specs. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you make your game on PC is going to take on different hardware SKUs. And now we're very aware of exactly the kinds of hardware comparisons that we have in the PS5 and the Series X and the Series S. So if the developers cannot put together, in my opinion, a plan to start optimizing from ground up, then it's their fault. It's just not good planning on their own part. That's just the reality. I mean, think about it. Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Insomniac's Nix's devs, to me, are the industry standard when it comes to PC these days. It used to be everybody else. Ubisoft, in terms of optimization, is also one of those where they can launch their game on multiple platforms with very little issues. They have a lot of technical expertise, believe it or not. And you're going to see it happen. Look at the requirements for Marvel Spider-Man 1 on, on Steam. You will look at the hardware and be like, wow, the Series S can actually do better than some of the hardware that you're seeing across the board for these games. The developers are not doing the job. Look at a game like Starfield. Starfield, when it first launched, it launched at 30 FPS on the X and the S. And then over time, it then transformed into a 60 FPS game on both platforms. Its minimum requirements here and its, other requirements, they kind of, share some similarities with what you will see in the Series S. And so after all that work, after all the, the tuning and the tweaking, the games eventually worked well. So again, there's no need for us to start, invoking ethnicity. This is just something that there is a certain level of technical knowledge that needs to be engaged with. And most of the gaming talking heads, and I'm not saying you, bro, but most of the gaming talking heads don't help matters. They're very quick to point to things that they know nothing about, and they just open their mouths and vomit a bunch of bogus crap. It's this bogus crap that a lot of people are following in the industry. They're looking at them, they're listening to them, watching their streams, giving them, all kinds of different bits and, membership donations. But these people they're not studying. They're not engaging in exactly the technical expertise that's needed for them to be able to sit there and talk about gaming from a technical side. Even I myself stay, for the most part, I'll stand back a lot from, a lot of the technical discussions, because I understand that they're very difficult and they're very challenging. However, even though, the technical discussions may be difficult and may be challenging, I still put myself in the, position of going to watch videos, of going to learn from, Unreal Engine 5. And they call them the tech evangelists. is what they do, but they make a lot of videos on optimization over the years. They've made many for many, many game developers. Just go into, go on YouTube and just type on Real Engine, optimization. You're going to see some really cool stuff like this one over here with this gentleman. I can't remember his name. I think his name is Ari. That's his name. The guy is a monster, and he's probably one of the best evangelists out there. When I tell gamers, hey, man, spend 41 minutes watching this video, man, I tell them. They'll tell me, no, man, it's none of our business to actually do that. But, bro, you came out here with my ethnicity. Yet, if I were to invite you and say, hey, can we watch this video so you can see how optimization works, things that can be done? And, these games are big, so this is long-term, big-scale stuff that will be needed in any regard anyways for a AAA game compared to, like, say, the example he gives here. But he points out a lot of different things. The video is even bookmarked. Lights. It talks about frame rates. It talks about profiling. It talks about practical optimization tricks. Tracing. Talks about, it's all over here. And he's literally showing the developers in real time, here's sucky frame rate. And then here is good frame rates. And he's telling them, try to do these when you're trying to improve performance. Don't do these, or else you're going to, you're going to basically go ahead and destroy performance. Here's another video here that was actually put out just 2 months ago. That Ari's video is a little older. This one says, how small open doors can lead to better CPU utilization and bigger games. So this is also another thing that's talking about profiling, that's talking about optimization. I sit here and I watch this stuff, and these gentlemen are showing you the way it's done. This is from somebody in CD Projekt Red. That's why CD Projekt Red is moving to Unreal Engine, because there's a knowledge base there. They don't want to be the ones handling all that stuff. So to talk about the Series S, ladies and gentlemen, it's tired. It's bogus. It's nonsense about, the Series S can't do crap. It's because it did that. When did developers become lazy? I'm just being honest. I look up to developers. I look up to developers that can push out games. I look up to developers that can, pretty much overcome technical hurdles. Now I got to sit here and say that the Series S, which is pretty much, comparable to a low-end CPU, super low-end CPU that they make games for all the time, or they put on their recommended requirements, is a problem for them. And I have to listen to somebody tell me that I'm that brother making us look bad because I'm pointing out the technical reality. Gaming discourse sometimes is a little weird, but again, it's what I signed up for. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video, and hopefully we can talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.